It's your boy Keith, and this is the Food for Thought Project brought to you by Yahweh International, New Foundation Productions. Robert, we love you guys over there. We appreciate your support. We are taking a much slower pace today, man. America is in a really dark place, in a really weird time of the month. December is the month where everybody seems to be in, cheerful and giving and all these things, but it's just so much going on. It's hard for people to really ignore and be all commercialized right now when our country's dealing with sexual harassment. Today's show will definitely are going to be tackling sexual harassment and all of its forms, and really talking about the industry as a whole, as far as the music industry, acting and entertainment as a whole when it comes to this issue. So many powerful people have lost their jobs. So many victims have finally just had enough and decided to come out and put everything on the line to make a change. Like, enough is enough, between the things that the president has said and these politicians denying everything. Some are taking responsibility, but a lot of them are just like exactly why these women are standing. Positions of power, seem to trump everything to a point, but more so in politics. These guys in politics act like they're untouchable. But in the entertainment industry, we've seen a lot of people fall. So today we're going to just talk about sexual harassment. Let's start with the entertainment industry as first, and then we're going to move to just in the workplace. So let's talk about that. First of all, my early 20s, I remember telling people I wanted to move to LA. One of my friends was already living in LA. He just said, man, LA is the devil's playground. I said, the devil's playground? He goes, yeah, man, this place is foul. The things you got to do to really make it out here. Talent is one thing, but it's like every turn you make, every step you make, somebody's there trying to compromise you in one way or another. So I think I went out there maybe 25. Actually, I think I was 23 the first time I went to LA and doing work out there. And I remember it didn't even take 3 weeks before I had my first incident with a stylist, and as uncomfortable as it could possibly be. I was getting fitted and getting my hair done for this event. And this stylist had been there, always in my face. And it's a male, not a female, always in my face, so right out the gate, as soon as he started that stuff, and when I say started that stuff, just coming on to me, right? And I was just like, yo, man, I'm straight. I don't play that, and you got to take that someplace else. Not even going for it. Now, you would think, and I'm saying that in a much firm way, that this dude would get it. But he was a well-known stylist at the time, and everybody was jogging this dude like, hey, just in his face, like wanted to be with him, wanted to be seen with him, wanted to be around him. And he made it a point to make sure he was, and really there was other stylists that was below him. Anybody could have worked with me, but he wanted to make it a point it was him. So, it was uncomfortable because, he would always drop little suggestions about coming over. And even after I told him, like, dude, so we constantly were like battling, like he was persistent. And it went from like verbal and like almost an intimidation kind of thing and making me uncomfortable to where he was cutting my hair one time. And I think, what was it? Yeah, he was cutting my hair, right? So while he was cutting my hair and I was in the barber chair, this dude starts rubbing his private part out, like rubbing against me, right? And when I tell you, I thought I was gonna punch this dude in the face, And I said, man, like, at first I was in shock a little bit. Like, I know this dude isn't doing that, right? And he starts laughing and stuff. I was like, man, like, yo, I get up out the chair. I was like, yo, if you press me one more time, man, it's going down, right? So he's laughing. His little crew is laughing, so clearly to me, this is something that these dudes be doing, right? Pressing up on dudes, right? They think it's funny. And I was like, yo, that's not funny. So I'm serious, but in one way, my fault was kind of like laughing, like, nah, that's not serious, so I'll get back in the chair and he does it one more time, man. And I just jump out the chair and I push him and it gets real serious in the room and like, why you tripping and da-da-da, et cetera, et cetera. I was like, and I just go off on him and his little homies like, yo, man, I'm sick and tired of you dudes pressing up on me and everybody else. And I say, and everybody else, cause I wasn't the only one. But I'm from the Bay, so, I wasn't going out like that, you know what I'm saying? So, and what I was doing was not so important at the time to where I couldn't check these dudes. Even though other people were there that was not stepping up, I had to be like, yo, man, I'm not, so I had to go talk to this dude who was doing this event and tell him like, yo, man, you need to deal with your staff, man. These fools, I tell him everything he's doing, man. I said, since I first got here, this dude's been in my face. And he's been coming on to me, and you need to check these dudes, man. It's not appropriate. I shouldn't have to come here and deal with all this stuff, man. And, he's giving me like, this guy is like, well, and he starts giving me excuses. And so I end up having to not do that event because if you giving me excuses, clearly nothing's going to be done, so, that was a tough loss for me because that was my first introduction to LA. But one of my partners was like, man, you think that's bad? He's like, you have no idea the kind of buffoonery that goes on here, right? And he was an actor and singer, and I'm not gonna put nobody's on blast at the time because he's kind of known and stuff. So, from that, I had to really reevaluate, what I was trying to step into, which is the music and the acting and the modeling, all that stuff. So, I just continued to pursue music in the Bay Area. Didn't run into any issues there the whole time I was there. It was business. And then maybe a couple of years after that, maybe the first time was 23, 25, 26, I go down for, I was producing a project in LA, went down there to be a part of the record release and all this stuff, just got blessed. And at this like VIP, like, record release thing is kind of VIP, right? And it didn't take, no time. The sharks, like, they just be like predators, swimming around in the water, looking for victims. You know what I'm saying? And when I say victims, you have to understand there is behaviors and things and situations that trigger these people. You know what I'm saying? And when I say that, I want to really kind of talk about how these sharks, these predators get at you in the entertainment business. So let me just jump into this real quick. So here it is. So if you're in the entertainment business, doesn't matter if it's music, film, whatever it may be, here's where everything goes wrong. Okay. In the regular workplace, right? Any job, you have an HR department, there's a hierarchy of how you deal with. You might not even see your supervisor if you don't even make it past HR. You get interviewed, you make sure they check you out to make sure you're qualified. And then you might meet a supervisor, and there might be 4 or 5 people at that. And this is in a regular job, right? There might be 4 or 5 people in the second interview. And then eventually you get hired on. And then from there, you enter the workforce, right? The entertainment business is so not like that. And here's why we have so many problems. At my regular 9-to-5 job, my boss doesn't say, hey, why don't you come over to my house and have dinner? My boss doesn't say, hey, why don't you want to come to dinner with me? There's a whole lot of behavior and situations that don't happen in a regular work situation. At least shouldn't be happening. But in a good situation, those type of conversations don't happen. Why? Because the boundaries and the guidelines and the stipulations of employment are so clear of what you can and cannot do that you really can't say you didn't know, because they almost put you through an employee training and the whole sexual harassment stuff that you do during the training. You can't say you know. That you don't know. And the entertainment business is totally different, right? So let me start with the film industry. So you want to be an actress, right? You or actor, you want to go, you get the casting calls, you're excited, everything is good. Let's say you book your first event, a commercial, whatever it may be. All that's the entry level stuff. Here's where everything goes wrong. And if you're somebody who's entering the acting situation, listen to me. Hey, we're going to have a wrap up party. This is the kind of situations, or even a situation during casting or whatever it may be. But any time that you are asked, hey, we're having a little get together at this club. Hey, we're going to go over so-and-so's house. Anytime you're asked to participate in something that has nothing to do with the specific job you're doing, that's like blood in the water for predators. Okay. And you have to understand how that works. Now, I have to do it because of networking. There are a lot of ways to network. Okay. Tons of ways to get into the mix, from acting classes to seminars that a lot of people put on. There are certain kind of events that will put you in the right situations, but by you saying yes to the wrong things, it sends a signal to these predators, to these sharks. So let me give you an example. So some casting director says, hey, I'm having a little get together over my house, right? That's problem number one, because now it's somebody who has a major influence in hiring you. And now you're feeling like if you say no, that's going to be a problem with them hiring you, and they may blackball you or whatever it may be. Yes, that happens. So now you say yes. So now this casting director not only tells their little friends about you, but may tell other prominent or powerful people, hey, there's this new one coming through, right? You are one of 1 million people that they get at. You know what I'm saying? This is how I say it. So you go to this party and it's wine flowing and there's celebrities there. And it's all of the listen to me. Grooming behavior is what I'm talking about. They all do it. Grooming behavior is to get you comfortable, get you in situations where you can be compromised, to get you in situations where you should say no, but you say yes. And the deeper you get, the harder it is to get out, because then you start thinking that everything that you need to do to succeed is wrapped into saying yes to just ridiculous behavior from various people, from the entry level to the mid level to the high level to the most powerful people. You're going to run into these sharks and these predators all the way through. Various people who will take full advantage. And you're like, well, how do I navigate that? Look, there are a lot of people that it took a lot longer to get where they're at by saying no. They had to just work hard and just hear that no and keep pushing, like they're not compromising. And then there's a lot of people who got on by compromising, and a lot of those people end up having serious drug and alcohol problems. It weighs on your spirit, it weighs on your soul. And then how do you deal with all of the stuff you've had to do to get where you at? You start drinking, you start doing drugs, you start doing a lot of stuff. And people always ask, why do all these famous people have so many problems? You've said yes to too much stuff. You've compromised yourself so far that you don't even recognize who you are no more. You look in the mirror and you don't like what you see. You got all this money, all these cars, all this stuff, and you're completely miserable because what you had to do to get here is broken you to the point where you can't fix it. So when you look at sexual harassment in the film industry, it starts from day one when you go in. And I hope nobody has this experience, but you can meet predators all the way up the ladder, with the most powerful people being the worst, because they feel like they can completely dominate over you, which is why all these dudes are getting in trouble, which is why they're all in these situations where clearly they had control over your career or situation. And a lot of people have been blackballed. I know people that have been blackballed. So when it comes to the film industry, you don't have those same guidelines in a work job. You don't have an HR person. I mean, he may come around just for some paperwork, but it's not formal the way it's not as formal as it could be. It's contracts, it's lawyers, it's managers. It's there's a missing component there. You know what I'm saying? And even though the laws are still governing what's right and wrong when it comes to sexual harassment in that world, man, please, it's a hot mess. So in the entertainment business, film specifically, that's kind of what happens. And then the worst of the worst, let me tell you, listen to me very closely. When you go, if they say, hey, so-and-so's having a mansion party, you need to avoid that by all means necessary. This is where everybody completely sells their soul. Oh, so-and-so's having a mansion party, et cetera, et cetera. And I can go down a list of celebrities who you guys know in their daggone mansion parties. You go into the house and the music's bumping, the DJ's downstairs, everything's popping, everybody's having a good time, but clearly something else is going on upstairs. There's a whole nother situation going on upstairs. I have been to 2 mansion parties in my whole entire life, and they were all before I was 30, and I never went upstairs because the people that told me very clearly said, whatever you do, don't go upstairs. Like, you stay with me. You know what I'm saying? You were not at that level of, so when you're at the party, can you have a good time? Oh yeah, you stay downstairs drinking and whatever it may be, and DJ's on, you're meeting women, you're meeting men, whatever you're into, that's going to happen. But the whole goal of that party is to completely Sodom and Gomorrah lose yourself.com. You feel me? You're going to completely be tested to the max of what you think how strong you think you are. So you trying to tell me right now, if, lots of times what happened, you'll see a famous celebrity, a famous director or producer, and they're like, yo, they're hanging out with you, checking you out. They're already grooming you. They're already doing grooming behavior. They might be a little touchy feely, a little flirty, whatever's going on. You sitting right there in the midst of that stuff, right? And the next thing you know, they say, hey, let's go upstairs. There's more stuff to do upstairs. Nah, I'm good. No, come on. Before you know, somebody's grabbing your hand, a girl, whatever, guy, whoever's, before you laughing, you're intoxicated, you're a little high, whatever it may be. Not me, but I'm just saying, because I definitely have seen this happen a lot. So it don't take nothing to be like, oh my goodness. And before you know it, you walking upstairs. And before you know it, you are doing things that you never thought you would do, and you're never the same after that. And then before you know it, it's 1 mansion party, 2 mansion party, and everybody in LA knows your name and knows who you are and knows, trust me, they tell each other exactly like, yo, so-and-so and so-and-so, this is what's up. So predators tell other predators. Best believe that. Like, it's a circle of them dudes. Them women, the men, whoever they may be, there's a whole lot of them that's sharing information about who's good. When you compromise yourself, that information is shared like it is on the internet when it comes to the film industry. So, a lot of people have lost everything because of sexual harassment, and being depressed, giving up on their dreams, losing everything, being blackballed, it's a dark place, and there's tons of more people that no one's speaking about. Just tons of them. I have a good friend of mine to this day. I just knew she was doing good, and she got blackballed. She said something. She tried to speak up and never worked again. Couldn't even get into a casting. I'm like, how did you go from being hot to being not? But that's what happens, man. Music industry, let's talk about that now. Same thing, bro. You want to be a singer, you want to be a rapper, you want to do this, you want to do that, and then you meet. It always starts with a couple different ways. It could start with you meeting somebody that say they know somebody, a manager on the low level, and hey, let me take you out. They wine and dine you. It always starts with the wine and dine, and you showing you how things could be, how you could be living. and getting you exposed to things that you had never been exposed to, a certain level of partying that you never witnessed. And before you know, yeah, I know so-and-so and I know so-and-so, and then they might know them or might not, but all the way through your journey in music, you're getting groomed. You are having an experience that initially you think is fun, but you find yourself compromising yourself in ways and doing things that you don't or never planned on doing, male and female. There are a lot of same situations where you're around and there's these stylists first of all, stylists are in the industry across the board, and they don't assume just because they're at that level that the harassment can't go on. Yes, lots of times that goes on. But as you're going through the music industry, these managers, these producers. I was listening to who was that girl? Ashanti. Yeah. She was talking on Breakfast Club about her experience with it. And she said this well-known producer, was talking all reckless to her, like, you know what, you can have all of this. I guess he had her out. They were together someplace and he was trying to wine and dine her and said, this will be for free. This is basically offering her the world if she got down, if she's with it, you know what I'm saying? And Shani was like, no, you know what I'm saying? But she might have been in position to say no, but a lot of young girls will go for that. I can't even tell you how many producers I knew with a roster of 10 girls that they're producing. And none of these chicks never had a single out, an album out, nothing. He just wanted these chicks around, man, and promised them the world and couldn't even give them the block. You know what I'm saying? And with that, he's just kind of having relationships with all them girls and, and taking them out, wine dining, you feeling like you make it. I mean, listen to me, in the music industry, this grooming behavior, part of getting you to buy into it is getting you to feel a certain way. You either feel intimidated because you feel like you won't make it or won't proceed or grow in your field, or you feel like the fantasy of making it, like you've made it, but ain't nothing really happened. You going to concerts, you're meeting all these celebrities, you're getting groomed that way. He's breaking you off money. You're doing videos that never come out. You're doing projects that never come out. It feels like you're making it, right? And at the same time, you're in a situation where you got to be in this relationship with this dude and other people that you don't even know about. And then, the big one, then just working you over, so, you're on the red carpet, the lights, the camera, the action of the industry and as a whole can give you a false illusion of making it and nothing's even happening. I know so many people today with no projects out. I have more albums out than most people because I own everything. But, I'm working with so-and-so. Oh, I'm working with so-and-so. Like, okay, but like, yo, what's popping? Oh, we're kind of seeing each other now. Yeah, okay. You don't even like this dude because we've already talked about this. This and no, you can't compromise. But that grooming behavior is so strong. Men in power use it all the time and almost try to rock you into a sense of giving up and giving in. So in the music industry, it's the same way. Let off his managers, agents, producers, record industry people. Like it's serious business, and you're going to deal with the same parties, the same VIP situations all the way through. If you don't stay true to who you are, you're going to deal with the same things. You know what I'm saying? So key number one is understanding what you want to do and who's waiting for you on that side of the fence. You understand what I'm saying? So if you want to be in the entertainment business, best believe that them predators and them sharks are waiting for you. And how do you avoid those type of people? You got to say no sometimes. You got to say no a lot of times. And you're going to know them because you're going to feel like they're offering you your dream and all you got to do is something, right? Let me tell you something someone told me. Let me help you guys make this basic decision. When somebody really wants to work with you and you're really that good, it's not going to be a whole lot of talking coming on. It's not going to be a whole lot of that. What it's going to be is, hey, I mean, it's going to be a short conversation about what you want to do, blah, 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 some talent issues. It's going to be some conversation to make sure you guys are on the same page. But at the end of the day, it's going to go like this. Let my lawyer will give you guys a call tomorrow, or my attorney will give you a call, whichever term is correct. My manager or the label is going to give you a call. They're going to send over a record contract. And that's a whole nother issue I'm not going to touch, but it's a short conversation. It's not rocket science. And it could be a development deal that you can be getting. Okay, fine. We're going to develop 5 songs and whatever it may be, or shoot 1 pilot for the TV show, whatever it is. That's what that paperwork for. The paperwork is to make sure that everything's on the up and up. If you're not seeing no paperwork, there should be no conversation. If you believe in me and what I'm doing, let's make something happen, because I'm only going to go to so many things to just hang out. It's not rocket science, people, let alone if you're an actor, an actress, a rapper, a singer, a musician. It is not rocket science. When somebody wants you and they don't want nobody else to get you, that paper is going to start happening. Them contracts is going to start flying. And I'm not going to address the contract issue because it's a whole nother problem, but that's just the way it is. But when you're dealing with people and it's a whole lot of talking and fake action and grooming behavior, and it's just the same mess over and over and over again, and you've been in LA for 5 years and you coulda, and you're so close, this, that, and the other, that's because these people are burning up your life by giving you bull crap and harassing you and putting you in positions where you got to be compromised. Like, well, they knew what they were doing. They knew. Okay, there's a period of time when it's not rocket science no more. You know what's up, because let me tell you what happens in LA, especially. You're going to have some good friends. People in LA have gone through a lot. You're going to have some people pulling your coattails and like, hey, yo, they're not about nothing. Or you need to stop doing this. You need to stop doing that. You're either going to listen to what them people are saying to you, those people who got your best interests at hand, or you're going to continue to compromise who you are. And by the time LA is done with you, you will have nothing left. You will be so empty and so hollow inside that you will need to do something to get just to fill. And that's where all the drugs and alcohol and the ridiculous partying and the fantasy living, just ridiculousness happens. You're trying to keep up with everybody else that's not making it. Sexual harassment is serious business, and it's not always the way in the industry. It's not always the way it is in the workplace. Same outcome, but the stigma about telling and standing up for yourself is extreme, and not wanting to be blackballed and making it. It's horrible feeling. And I'm thankful that these women and these men, when Terry Crews said that somebody sexually harassed him, first of all, Terry Crews that should just tell you everything you need to know. That is a big, tall brother. And somebody felt that comfortable to do that to him. When I heard, I was like, that's crazy. But it really tells you that it doesn't matter how big, tall, light, white, color, race, creed, whatever. None of that matters when it comes to people who mean to do you harm. People who are predators and sharks. They don't care about none of that stuff. They're in the position of power, and they will that power upon you. They'll use grooming behaviors. They'll use, you want to make it, whatever they need to do to get you in that situation. That's their goal. So this is a stern warning for anybody that is currently in the industry, in the entertainment industry, doesn't matter which part of it you're in, that you have to evaluate what you want to do and look at the people that you're around. Are they exposing you to some of these predators and sharks? Look at the people who have been constantly trying to get in your face and get access to you. You need to start really looking at that. Now, my first suggestion is own all your stuff. If you are in the film industry, I'm going to say, take some schooling to learn directing, producing, whatever it may be, and buy your own equipment. Shoot your own pilots. Take control of your career. Take if you are a student of the arts, then love the arts, not the fame. The fame will always lead you to the predators, always. But learn what you should be doing. Learn the industry from the business perspective and what you should be doing. Okay. So buy the editing stuff, buy, Avid, whatever you're using to film, whatever cameras. Yes, it's going to be expensive. You're going to be the boss. You shoot your own stuff. You get a crew of people and you make it happen. And then you find good casting people and good people to work with. Talk to your friends and see who is booking, who are booking stuff, and see, hey, who's cool, who to stay away from. And the music industry is the same way. You want to be a singer, a producer, a rapper, musician, you got to pay to be the cost. If you're a singer, you need to be taking vocal lessons, paying for it yourself, not letting somebody else do it. Even though they can, and sometimes in the right situations it's appropriate. If you want to be a music producer, if you're a singer, rapper, or any on the vocal end, you need to learn how to produce anyway, so you can take more control of your career. But if you want to produce, engineer, these are things in skills that you need to learn. The more you learn, the more power you have. The more power you have, the less people can say, I can do for you. Like, no, I already know how to do that. I know how to do that. If you know how to read contracts, all these things make you a stronger person. The less you know, the more they can manipulate you across the board. The less you know about becoming an actor and the structure and all that stuff, everything you got to do, the less you know what it takes to be a singer or producer, whatever it may be, whatever you don't know, that's how people can start manipulating and talking crazy to you and getting you in situations. You know what I'm saying? So it doesn't matter, even if it's modeling, because Lord knows they have the same issues, same problems too, across the board. It doesn't matter, so that's what I really want people to take from this is keep your power. Don't let nobody take your power. Knowledge is power. And the more knowledge you have, the less buffoonery and grooming behavior people can do to you. Don't be desperate to be famous. If you want to be famous, you are going to come across some of the most darkest, evil people on this planet. Fame will always lead you to those people. If you want to be famous. Not if you want to be have a career or be successful in your craft, but there are people that just want to be famous, which is why now social media is ridiculous. People getting record deals off of social media and they have no skill set. You know what I'm saying? So they just want to be famous. Dangerous. That's the devil's playground. So we're going to play a song and we're going to come back and talk about the workplace. I have a lot of experience in that as well, as somebody who has managed for 8 years working in the other field I'm in, which is mental health. And we're going to have a conversation about that. But I hope you got something from this conversation about the music industry. One, just increase your knowledge and skill set when it comes to this industry. You should know how to do everything. You should be a threat across the board. If you're an actor, you should be able to produce. You should be able to direct. You should be able to do all these things and have an understanding of your craft. And the same thing as if you're a singer. If you're a singer, you need to be knowing how to produce and produce and engineer and all these other things. You need to really completely be as strong as you possibly can. So when people come to you, they can see that you're not somebody to be played with. So we're going to take a pause for the cause. Yahweh International New Foundation Production is our sponsor. Robert and them over there. I appreciate you guys, man. And we're going to continue to talk about sexual harassment, people in power, and we'll be back.
He was trying to get out his ID and his wallet out his pocket, and he let the officer know that he had a firearm and he was reaching for his wallet, and the officer just shot him in his arm. Please don't tell me he's
my pain. These tears I cry, only God knows why. Nobody really understands me and what I go through on a daily. But you always been my daddy, even when I had no man around me. I felt rejected, neglected, depressed, stressed, and less than your best. Now I rock with the greatest, past the A-list, living in heavenly bliss.
Nobody understands the pain I feel. The things I've done don't seem real. 'Cause I'm a hostage of my flesh. So many things I need to confess. I know I haven't been my best. So on my knees I must pray. These scars won't heal without you. 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 These
Through the hell on earth, I'm purified through dirt. Sometimes the pain hurt, make me minimize my work. Looking for more in the church, but all I see is works. Looking for more in the church, but all I see is works. Can I make it through my problems? I'ma need faith. Still walking, even though my knees ache. Rejection a lesson I've been facing since adolescence. Shell shock from them gunshots while I was resting. Blowing their bottle where I was taught not to panic. Now I'm doing work in the hood like a mug daddy. Came from throwing up my side with the gang signs. Funny game till the locket got gunned down. A life story of scars that changed for good through the Lord. I could be in the morgue, my past decisions were poor, but look what he had in store. Gotta feel pain to feel joy. I promise this can be yours. Yeah, I see these scars. These scars.
These Scars. Perfect song, man. My verse specifically actually ties in a lot of what we're talking about, compromising. You know, it says, I'm a hostage of my flesh. So many things I need to confess. And it really has to do with me reflecting in my years in the industry where I wasn't let God lead me. You know, my early 20s, you know, I've had my moments where I want to be famous. I want the rides. I want the money. I want all that stuff. But as situations kept happening, I started realizing like, yo, that's not the way. That stuff is not going to make you happy. You need to go, because Lord knows I've had it. And that's not what made me happy. What made me happy is is following God's plan. You know, me falling in love with the craft of being an artist, and not falling in love with trying to make it and be famous. Because the fame comes and goes, but your gift stays with you forever. And I think that's what a lot of people forget. I can never let somebody take that from me. And so many people today are not singing, not rapping, not producing, not engineering, not shooting films, not directing, not acting. There's so many people that have completely given up on their gift because what has happened to hit them around harassment, let alone if it's sexual harassment or just, you know, other kind of harassments that can happen in the workplace, completely stop doing what they do because they felt broken. And that's sad, man. And I pray for healing for you. If you're somebody who hears this and you had a gift that someone completely took from you because they took advantage of you, I encourage you to let God bring healing and hope to your heart and get back to doing your gift without fear, and stand for what's right when things aren't done the right way. And let's talk about the workplace right now. This one is a lot cleaner, and I think people's anger right now is geared towards HR departments, because one thing has been clear in almost all of these people coming out is they had went to somebody in the HR department and nothing happened. They just kind of hemmed and hawed. I have personally gone through that. Oh my, so many times. I can't even tell you. I won't say so many times, but a good 3 to 4 times where I felt something inappropriate was going on, and went to HR and said, "Hey, this is what's up," and nothing happened. Or I was managing somebody who was having an issue, sent them to HR, and nothing happened. But let me just start here. First of all, this one really isn't rocket science. First of all, let me give you the best advice ever when it comes to dealing with sexual harassment. Write down everything, time and date. No matter how small you may think it is, that's the first step you need to do. If you have a funny feeling about something that was said to you, keep a journal, because that journal will probably be full by the time you end up leaving that place or leaving that movie or finishing that album. Just get a journal full of things that you feel that were inappropriate together, times and dates. And then, of course, what you did when these things happened. I spoke to my HR department. I told this person no, you know, your response to these things, and then chronicle who you spoke to. I spoke to the director of HR, I spoke to the producer of the movie, whoever it may be. You have to advocate for yourself in a way to where somebody can't do what's going on now. That never happened. I don't remember it. Well, let me help you remember. It was at 8:30 a.m. at your house. And you know, let me tell you, a journal goes a long way when it comes to proving, chronicalizing your experience in life. Just recently, I had a situation where they wanted my journal for some work stuff, right? And I was like, okay, no big, all right, fine, you know, because I have some issues with my back and I journal that stuff. So in the workplace, that's where you start. Start number one is when you feel that uncomfortable feeling, hair standing on the back of your neck, start chronicling behavior that you're experiencing. And not to get somebody in trouble initially, but just so you're clear on what's being done, what's being said, and how you handled it and who you talked to. Step number 2, make sure there's a plan in place to deal with the behaviors or issues or whatever it may be. Not just, well, okay, we'll talk about it. Well, what does that mean? Like, what steps? What are the steps? Make sure there's some clear steps. Follow up, email, follow up to you. Nothing verbal. We got to get away from verbal everything. You know, it's okay to go talk to them. First thing you should do, you verbally talk to them, right? Okay, that's fine. But after that, I'm going to follow up with an email. Hey, this is so-and-so, just following up with our conversation on this day, about A, B, C, and D. You're going to start that paper trail. You're going to start it on your journal. You're going to start it in your email. You're going to start putting together your strength of position of standing up for yourself. because if I see one more person say that never happened, and they have the right because, of course, due process. But we're taking it from the perspective of these things did happen. Okay. So from that perspective, that's how you start dealing with, that's the best thing you can do to protect yourself and really start dealing with sexual harassment in the workplace. I I worked at this place in the Bay Area, and when I first started, it was me and 10 women. It wasn't bad. It was actually pretty cool. It was like, yeah, I'm just surrounded by women, no dudes. They was always bringing me food or whatever it may be. Got along great with everybody, nothing inappropriate. But I started noticing when we got up to like 15, 20, there's some weird things going on. Like, oh, you didn't even speak to me today. Like weird stuff. Like I was picking up on like, why are you mad at me today? Oh, you can speak to me now. If I spoke to somebody they didn't like, or just really awkward stuff. And I went to my boss. I said, hey, I'm experiencing some weird inner office personality stuff. I'm the only guy here. And sometimes I feel like I'm somebody's man because they're possessive. And she just laughed it off. Like, no, that's like not funny. It's uncomfortable. When we got to 40 women, it was out of control. And I'm like, how is there no guys? Because first of all, in my field, it's dominated by women. And I'm not talking about, it's different if you work on a locked facility, but on an administrative level, it's predominantly women. Counselors, your therapists, and all those people are predominantly women. But when I tell you it was out of control, oh my goodness, if somebody was going through a divorce, if they broke up with something, every negative thing was given to me like I was the person, right? Like I'm the dude, like why you have an attitude with me? So, but a lot of times, I would smooth it over with people I had a good relationship, but there was one woman who, she had it in for me and just always just negative, right? So what she did one day was she took a picture of me off the internet. She cut my head out of this picture and she pasted it to this deformed body, and she placed that picture in everybody's cubicle. And so when I came to work, I saw it on my desk. I thought it was just on my desk. It wasn't. It was on everybody's desk. And so one of my coworkers came to me and just said, don't be upset. Just go talk to HR. And the girl was laughing. She thought it was funny, and me being a man, I just didn't want to be a wimp. I was like, nah, it's all cool. I just blew it off, but it was as wrong as it got. And the office was never the same after that. Like it completely changed things, the way people dealt with me, and just, it was jacked up. But I handled it all wrong. That's why things got worse. Listen to me. That's why things got worse. Is because when you think you can handle it, these people just keep going and they get worse. You don't stop doing that. Nah. People only respond to change when you change. When they see you serious, and that not just like in a threatening way, when you get them in that pocketbook, when you start talking to HR department and people that's going to really start talking about lawyers and stuff, watch what happens. Yes, has people, now listen, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. People have gotten fired, released, and other things when they try to stand up for themselves. That happens. But that just means you're not supposed to be there in the first place. If they didn't value you as an employee and released you because you were a troublemaker, you need to continue to follow through with everything that happened and take it to the next level. You need to, if the HR department didn't handle it and did what and completely boggled it and messed it up, then you get that lawyer and you take it to that next level. It's just going to be what it's going to be, because you need to show a record of behavior at a place of employment or an employee. You need to show that record, so that's why a lot of these guys are getting in trouble now, because this is not the first time. It's just we're all new to it, but these are ongoing behaviors that have been documented. So now it's all coming out. Now it's public. Oh, this ain't the first time. It's the 6th time. So it's important that you stand up for yourself and you do the things that you need to do to make sure that even if you leave, even if you lose that film, lose that job, you lose that position, you lose whatever it is that you fought for, that you follow through, because maybe they got away with it with you, but there are people coming behind you, and you need to plant the foundation to make sure those people do not continue those behaviors, and that they are made responsible for the things that they're doing. It's your boy Keith, Food for Thought Project, man. You know, hey, this conversation I know it's Christmas, but it's a conversation that needed to happen, and I'm thankful and blessed that you let me have it with you. I hope it was helpful for everybody. If you have any questions, man, hit me up. This is an ongoing conversation about harassment. It doesn't matter what industry it is. It could be in the entertainment industry, in the regular workplace. It can be in politics. You are a valuable person, and nobody has the right to devalue you, and dehumanize you and make you feel less than. It's your boy Keith. Peace and grace. God loves you.